Alright, so this is looking pretty good. I like this. Um, what I want to do is let's go back to our texture mode and let's start to think about just adding subtle fine details that aren't going to break the bank. Because remember, we're going to make this pretty tiny. And to be honest, even having these edge loops here on this guy, these here is a little bit much. So really we should kind of um, go to our edit mode and maybe even get rid of, I don't know, like, I guess that's fine. I was going to say a couple of these guys in here. Like we can alt click to loop around that. You know, this whole edge right here that goes around like this. And this outside edge. Come on, let me select it. Oh, you know what? We still have that thing on, so it's really one object. And then we could hit X and then just do dissolve edge. And it really doesn't need to be that high, but we'll leave it for now. I mean, it doesn't, it's not hurting anything. Same thing in here. Once we finish forming the inside, we can get rid of all these inside curves. Once we add this modifier, our solidify one and the mirror one, we can just go in and just get rid of these. We won't need them. Well, let's do that now to show you. So I'm going to go to object mode and then just add that solidify modifier here. And then with mirrors still on in edit mode, since we're not going to be seeing these inside edges, so I'm holding alt and then shift clicking these three. And then I hit X, I'm going to hit dissolve edges. You can see we got rid of all those edges on the inside. We sort of need them on the outside just to give us that shape. We might not need this inside one here. So if I hit X and then dissolve edge, it's really not going to make that big of a difference. So that's a good way of conserving some polygons. Same thing with these two inside here. Now that I look at that. Oh, it looks like those wrapped all the way around. Oh, because we got all the other ones. Okay. These two, actually these edges here, they're not going to do any big difference. Same thing here. Because it's going to be static and not moving. I think that's pretty clean, and that's pretty low res enough where that'll get the message across. Alright, so let's go ahead and create these tires in this thing in here. In object mode, you're just going to hit Shift A, create another cube. Alright, I'm going to bring that forward off to the side here. Scale it down. Grab my sub D surface here. And then I'm going to hit Control. Well, let's go to Edit mode. Control R and just throw two loops. One here. One here. And that's pretty good in low. Let's go ahead and go back to object mode. And I'm going to just scale that down a little bit. And let's go, actually, let's bring that edge a lot closer to the side there. Then I'm going to apply that. And let's clean up a lot of this geo that we don't need. So we really don't need these three inside edges because it's pretty flat. X the dissolve edges, boom. So there we are. We've got our quadded out cylinder. And let's position a couple of these. So honestly, I think for the purposes of our toy here, I'm going to just make two giant ones. I was going to think about doing something like that, but I think it might be overkill. So Shift D to duplicate that. And then if you want to move it just on an axis, you can do G and then Y and just move it on that axis there. Maybe we'll do two more at the top here. We'll just, we'll leave one in the middle. Just something like this. And then I'm going to Shift D again that. bring it out a little bit on the z-axis, or down on the z, a little bit on the x, and then just uniform scale that whole thing down. I'm going to move it over this way. And then what I want to do is, in edit mode, just throw another loop down the top there. Let's straighten out that that edge a little bit. Looks like I had two on top of each other. Yeah, no, now there's no longer two. Okay, so on the y-axis, just flatten it. Actually, let's just place that in the middle. It's probably a better way of doing it. And then in edit mode, we're going to grab both edges of verts. And I'm just going to line up those verts with that edge there, the edge of the back wheel. Then I'm going to select both of these and then just scale them up on the z-axis a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and remove that mirror from this guy here, and then I'm going to remirror it. So I'm going to close that out, and since this is non-destructive, you can you can get rid of those as you please. So if I hit Control G to group these, or Shift G, I can make them children of the parent, or Control J will join them to one object. And then what I could do is right click Set Origin, Origin to Geometry, and that'll set that to the center. And then I can go to Add Modify Mirror. And then what I can do is I can select this as my mirror, the center one, and you'll see that it grabbed all those joined objects and it made it one piece, like that. Let me start introducing you to texturing. I think I might have added this edge by accident, but I do want it there. So really all that is if I go in edit mode here and I select this edge on the side here. So I'm going to go to 2, and then I hit X and then dissolve edge. What I can do is to add that edge back in is just Control R, click there, and I'm going to move it back a little bit to make that window. And then in here, what we can add is I think that's okay actually. Let me see if there's any real modifiers that I can use that I can't just use with a hotkey. Alright, so let's select this face here and this face over here, and if we go to active element here, what we can do is if we hit E to extrude, see how it does the active element, and then we do S to scale, it sort of moves it in towards that active element. The other thing we can do is if we click on this and we do individual origins, it'll go between them both. See that? So if I hit E to extrude and E to extrude, there we go, and then scale that down. See how we can do the individual, see we have this individual origins here. So that way it treats each face independently. And so that way I can just kind of like scale it up on Y, or scale it sideways on Y and then up on Z rather. And then I can push in that window like this. So I'm going to hit E, And I'm going to move that back in a little bit to create that window. And like I was saying before, it's going to be super tiny, so we don't have to get crazy with that. It's just more about the learning process. But I am going to knock out this back window too, just slightly. So shift select both of these. And then E to extrude, S to size that up. I'm just going to scale that in just a little bit. S and then Z vertically. And then Y up. I think what might be a nice change from all the modeling is in the next video what we'll do is we'll texture paint it. So let's get that front window in, S and Y, or Z rather. And then, like I said, I'd love to just throw a little bit of lighting on there to just see how that came out. And we could play with our light too, like change it from a spot to a, let's see, here's our point light. We can change it to, a point light here. Sort of move that around a little bit. Play with the intensity and all that good stuff. Anyway, forgive my early morning dryness. It's like 3:30 in the morning here, but I wanted to knock out some time before I had work to keep working on this tractor and record it. And next we'll do unwrapping and texturing.